Forced to work from home by your employer? Laid off or feeling depressed at home? Do you want to make money working from anywhere? We'll show you how to do it from your couch. It's time for another episode of the Work From Home Show. Coming to you from their homes in Austin, Texas and Tampa, Florida, here are your hosts, Adam and Naresh.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Work From Home Show. I'm Naresh, with Adam Schrader, and we have Merrick Rosenberg on with us. He's a keynote speaker and thought leader on personality styles and team development. He co-founded Team Builders Plus in 1991 and Take Flight Learning in 2012. He's a best-selling author of The Chameleon, Life-Changing Wisdom for Anyone Who Has a Personality or Knows Someone Who Does. I like the title of that book. It sounds interesting, and we're going to talk about that on this episode. But also his other book, Taking Flight, Master the Disc Styles to Transform Your Career, Your Relationships, Your Life. So we'll talk about the disc styles as well. Merrick, welcome to the Work From Home Show.
Thanks for having me.
Let's start the discussion by talking about working from home, post-lockdowns. The virus is still somewhat prevalent. So during these times, how can we be better leaders, business people, and even spouses?
Well, when I look at how can we lead people better and how can we build better relationships, I always look at it through this lens of personality, because our personality plays out in everything we do, how we communicate, how we interact. And the way that I frame it, I'll even give you a nice, easy way to think about it, and then we can have some fun with it. If you think of those 4 core personality types, I've linked them to 4 birds to make it very easy and accessible. So if you picture an eagle, they are confident, assertive, and take charge. Picture the parrot. They've got a big energy. Parrots have that big smile and charisma. If someone had the personality of a dove, they're more soft-spoken and harmonious and empathetic. And owls, logical, analytical. They have a plan and a process. And what happens, especially during this lockdown, when people are working from home, they're doing things they've never done before, is that we have to accept that people of different personalities will approach this process very differently. Owls, I've had owl friends who are like, I've been planning for this my whole life. like I can work from home, I'm good. Whereas parrots need social interaction. So as we think about how can we work from home, how can we interact, we have to recognize that people who have different personalities are going to stress about this differently. They're going to have different needs, and we're going to have to manage them differently based upon who they are.
So if you have one of the personalities that doesn't lend itself to being the leader that you want to be, how do you become that leader? Like, what kind of things can you do?
Well, one of the things that I always love to share with people is that there's no one style that is a great leader and the others aren't. Take, for example, like someone like a Bill Gates. All right, Bill Gates is an owl leader. Well, he's a self-made billionaire and he's done pretty well for himself. Someone like Richard Branson is a parrot leader, and he's a self-made billionaire. Steve Jobs, he's more of an eagle. Howard Schultz from Starbucks, he's more of the dove. So what I always want people to recognize is it's not about trying to be a leader that there's a specific type of leader you must emulate. What you have to do is you have to be the leader that you were born to be. If you're a dove, you're probably focusing on culture and how people feel. If you're a parrot, you're probably focusing on creating an engaging, fun workplace for everyone. If you're an owl, I'll bet as a leader, you're creating a lot of systems and processes. If you're an eagle, you're focused on the goal. So you've got to really step into the power of your personality so that you can be the best leader you can be. It's almost like you need to be the highest version of yourself and not try to be a image of what you think leadership is, but rather be the person you are, and then you'll shine.
Merrick, you just named some well-known business people, Bill Gates, etc. I'm going to name 3 names, and I'd like to hear your analysis. I have a feeling you know probably 2 of the names that I'm going to say, but you can anticipate 2 of the names. But I'd love to hear your analysis on what kind of, animals they are and what kind of leaders they are and why. Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Barack Obama.
Yeah, so Donald Trump, obviously an eagle, and has that dial turned up a lot. And look, eagles can be great leaders because they focus on goals. They don't get mired in details. They have a big picture vision, and that has been his strength. It's what got him elected. And of course, the flip side of that for eagles is that if you dial up the energy too much, then what you can do is you have the potential to offend people. So this has been his challenge. What was his greatest asset in 2016, which is big picture vision and goals, he dialed up his personality a little too much, and now his directness has become blunt, his assertiveness has become aggressive, confidence has become arrogance. And so his challenge is that his greatest asset became his greatest liability. Whereas you have somebody like a Joe Biden. Biden, throughout his career, has always been the parrot with a little bit of dove in there, too. He's always had that big smile, big charisma, charismatic energy. But it's interesting, in this election, he's focusing more on his dove style. And he's bringing out more of the empathy, the connection, the feeling that Joe's a nice guy and he's going to help you because he cares about people. So they're really contrasting each other. You got Obama, who has a very different style. We'll talk about him in a moment. But what do you think? Can you see that in Trump, that big eagle energy? Have you seen that parrot and dove in someone like Joe Biden?
I feel like Joe Biden's done the dove thing because of how eagle-ish Trump became.
100% agree. I think what they're trying to do is create an empathy gap and show that Joe Biden really does have that empathy that perhaps people have been longing for. And so I think you're 100% correct. I think they're accentuating that aspect of his personality because we haven't seen that in a while.
Well, I should also say that if politics aside, if you asked me, if you laid out, okay, this is what an eagle is, this is what a dove is, this is what an owl is, if you laid this out in front of me, I would say, hey, I want to be an eagle. Like that's what I want to be. Again, politics aside. So I just wanted to make that comment.
Yeah, but it's interesting. We think, if I were to say to you, what style do you think? Presidents of the United States, do you think there's a pattern? In other words, do you think that there are more eagles than any other style in terms of presidents? What do you think? Most people, I think, would say yes. We kind of envision it's the symbol of the country. We visualize that leadership. I mean, would you agree with that statement that we picture eagles as leaders?
I mean, I would think it would either be eagles or doves, honestly. That would be my two choices, just because you kind of do have to show empathy for the common American to get them to be willing to let you lead.
Well, to me, it's not just politics, but even in business and entrepreneurship. I'm a business owner. I used to work at several large corporations, and I remember seeing the leaders of the medium-sized businesses and the corporations. And really, by and large, the really effective ones were eagles. And working from home in
that's
this
true. Yeah, but you know what? The question is that true? Because that culture rewards those behaviors. In other words, I've seen a lot of parrot leaders and dove leaders, and they create a culture for their people that people love working there. And there's that expression, culture eats strategy for breakfast. Yeah. So the reality is in the United States, we've actually had a lot of owls and doves and parrots as presidents. And it is true in corporations, there are way more eagles as CEOs than any other style. But other styles can be equally effective, but they're going to be very, very different leaders than what we think of as the traditional leader.
Yeah, well, I came from Wall Street, which is probably why that's what I saw. A lot of eagles on Wall Street. And then even when I switched over to financial marketing, still kind of same personality types.
Right. Eagle, that financial world is very eagle and owl. Go into healthcare, you'll see CEOs who are doves. So it's a very different world as you go to different types of companies. I worked with a PR consulting firm. They focused on social media. Almost every single person in that organization was a parrot. I've worked with organizations of social workers, CEO, dove. Almost everyone who works there, dove. So certain industries are going to draw certain styles. And we do have to recognize that anybody can be a great leader. As we look at presidents in the United States, a person who is considered the single greatest president in U.S. history by presidential scholars is Abraham Lincoln, and he was a dove. So, and
Good point.
number two is always Washington, and he was an owl.
Good point. Well, let's finish up with Obama, and then Adam will ask his question.
Yeah, Obama's a fascinating style. In fact, he's a personality that's less than 1% of the population. He's a combination of the eagle and dove style. I mean, picture eagle and dove working within a person. And I use the example of someone like a Nelson Mandela or a Martin Luther King Jr. or Gandhi. And what did they fight for? Nonviolent, which comes from the dove, resistance comes from the eagle. And they fought for people, which is the dove, but they were fighting, but not with aggression, but they will wear you down with their patience. And that's what the eagle and dove characteristics were like. When you mix them together, they become an activist. And that's really what Obama was. He was a community organizer, an activist before he was in Congress and the president. So it's a very interesting style. They're very eloquent because they speak with confidence and empathy. So they really emote just a powerful sense of emotion. And it's a very interesting style.
Let's just say I'm a CEO and I'm an owl. Is it important to surround myself with the other three as well? Or does it work better in one organization if you have leaders of the same style?
You know, it's not a matter of what is the makeup of the team. It's a matter of how do you, as a leader, connect with everyone. So I'll give you an example. If I'm an eagle and I'm about to announce a major change to the organization, we're about to implement a new system. Well, whose style am I most likely to announce it in? My own. I'm an eagle, I'm going to announce it as an eagle. Now, if I'm announcing a change to a system, how much information and detail do you think I'm going to provide if I'm an eagle? What do you think?
Just do it, because I said to do it.
Just do it. And how much warning do I give people?
Starts tomorrow, right?
You got it. So watch what I do, and let's see if you can tune in and listen to the process here. So instead of being just an eagle, because remember, if I'm communicating only in my style, I'm only going to connect with people like me. So I'll announce this change and see if you can see what I'm doing here. Bottom line, we're implementing this new system. Here's when it starts. Here's our goal. Let me tell you something. This is going to be amazing. Better, faster, easier. You're going to love it. Now, I know it's new. I know it's different, and we're going to be there for you. We're going to answer your questions. It's going to be better for our customers and for you. Let me walk you through step by step, show you exactly how this new system is going to work. All right, so what did I do there?
You just did straight disc, right?
I did. I hit Eagle, Parrot, Dove, Owl, which is DISC. And who did I connect with?
Everyone. I mean, you hit everything.
That's exactly it. It doesn't matter if I have a team of people of all one style or of all different styles. If I am aware that I need to be flexible and adapt to the people around me and connect to all of my employees, I don't really necessarily care what your personality style is at all. If you have flexibility, have at it. You're what I call the chameleon. But if you're locked in on your style, it's a problem. And I'll give you an example just to reflect back. Donald Trump, eagle, stays in eagle mode all the time. Hillary Clinton, owl, stays in owl mode all the time. Last election was one of the most polarizing elections we've ever had because they didn't connect with everyone. But you take Obama, he's one of the most admired people on the planet. And what does he do? He has eagle moments. He has parrot moments. He has dove moments. He has owl moments. And guess who you appeal to when you display all four styles? You appeal to everyone. And so as a leader, that's the challenge, is to be able to be flexible and adaptable so you reach everybody.
I guess I'm in the minority because he didn't appeal to me. But hey.
Well, what did I do? Well, as the eagle, I gave you right up front. I said, all right, bottom line, here's the goal. Here's what we're doing. Here's when we're doing it. Let's do it. Right?
Yeah,
you got your needs met in the first 5 seconds, and then you're like, all right, can I be dismissed? I'm good.
Yeah. No. And that was really more of a joke. Look, I voted for him the first time around, and I think he's just personality-wise, I always thought that the Democrats need someone like him. Again, he's a perfect personality. He's really like your ideal presidential candidate. Politics aside, personality, I think, is what wins elections, not issues, not other things. It's all about personality, how you look in front of that camera, because everyone's got the same platforms at the end of the day. Everyone's saying the same stuff on the Democratic side. Everyone's saying the same stuff on the Republican side. It's just the way that you say it is what's so important. And I just want to let our listeners know really quickly, we mentioned DICS, or sorry, DISC. Can you break down what that acronym stands for?
Sure. Well, what's interesting about the DISC model, it's one of the most widely used behavioral models in corporations today. It's been around since 1928. Nobody owns DISC, nobody owns DISC, so there's no agreement as to what the letters even stand for. Most people agree that the D is dominance, that's the eagle. The I can stand for either interactive or influencing, that's the parrot. The dove is the S, which is steadiness, sometimes it's supportiveness, and the owl is the C style, and that's conscientiousness. But once again, nobody owns DISC, so there's not quite agreement on what the letters even stand for. That's why I use the birds. When I say to someone, they're an eagle, you immediately get it. But if I say they're a D, you have to say to yourself, wait a minute, which is the D again? I forget. So I love the visualness of making it nice and simple.
Now, I want to hear your thoughts on my take. When Naresh was talking about Trump being the ideal candidate, do you think it's because he's an eagle lining up with the eagle, or is that why you think he's believing that?
I said Obama's ideal candidate.
Yeah.
Okay, but when you're talking about Trump I thought you were talking about Trump as being the ideal candidate.
No, I was talking about somebody like Obama because.
I know you were. I'm talking about Naresh. Naresh, didn't you say that you thought Trump was his style?
No, I said Obama.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Never mind.
But look, Trump also Trump on the Republican side, he was up against 20 people, I think, or somewhere close to that number. And so if you want to look at it that way, I thought, yeah, he was the ideal candidate compared to the 19 or so other people who he was running against, because none of the others seemed like eagles to me, and he was very consistent as an eagle.
There was only one. There was Chris Christie from New Jersey, and Trump just out-eagled him. And then once he picked off the other eagle on the list, he just one at a time just worked his way through all of the other owls and doves, gave them nicknames, and just was much more aggressive. And at the end of the day, I said very early on, once Chris Christie was gone, I said, you watch. The only eagle on that stage is Trump. You wait and see what happens. And nobody believed it. Everyone's like, you're crazy. It's not going to happen. I'm like, I'm telling you, he's the only eagle on the stage. Eagles win. And we know what happened.
How do you go in and implement this with groups? Is it just showing people the differences, or how does somebody like you help a company?
It's going into a team, going into an organization, and it's teaching people first to understand their own style, and then the ability to be able to read others quickly so they can be flexible. And the underlying theme is that we're really teaching it to people in companies is that we impose our personality on others, and we do it all the time. So in other words, if I'm an owl and I'm communicating to a parrot, I probably need to dial down the detail and dial up the energy. If I'm an eagle talking to a dove, I probably need to dial down my assertive directness and dial up the empathy and soften it a little bit. And so it's really about teaching people how to understand themselves, how to understand others, and then to be able to flex to the people around you, whether they're someone who reports to you, if you're the manager, whether it's a team member, someone in another department, or a customer. It's, are you flexing to them, or are you making them flex to you?
Curious to know, to piggyback off of what Adam asked earlier, he said teams are going to have different types of personalities, eagles, doves, owls, etc. How would you apply this to a household where you have hopefully a mother, a father, and multiple kids who could all be different personalities? And for all the single people listening, we got a lot of single people. Should they go seek people who are similar to them? I don't think that's a good idea, but I'd be curious to hear your thoughts.
The reality is that we tend to be attracted to people who are opposite from us. Eagles and doves are married the most often. Parrots and owls are married the most often. It's because we say, look, they're my other half. They complete me. It's not that if you had two.
My wife's a dove. I think I'm an eagle. My wife's a dove.
Right. You're an eagle. Your wife's a dove. I'm a parrot. My wife's an owl. It's how it works. If I stand in front of an audience of 1,000 people and I say, raise your hand if you're married to your opposite style, 800 something people in that audience are raising their hands. I mean, it's just amazing. And And what happens is we tend to be attracted to people who are different from us. It's almost like if you had two parrots, they'd be fighting for airtime. If you have two owls, they're fighting over this is how you load the dishwasher. No, this is how you load the dishwasher. If you have two eagles, they're just battling
Civil
for
War.
dominance. Yeah,
Civil
it's
War.
yeah, it's fascinating. And so in families, we have to understand our spouse. The biggest thing for parents to recognize is if you have a child who's different from you, are you trying to make that child into a younger version of you, or are you trying to let them be who they are? And parents impose their personality on kids all the time. And that's what you have to watch for. Whether you're at work, whether you're at home, you can't try to change the people around you into a version of you.
Merrick, how can we gain deeper self-awareness, maximize our personal strengths, and improve our relationships overall, given all that you've given us today?
I think the first step is to recognize and look at these four birds and say, okay, which is the most prominent for me? And you look at them, and most people will say, yeah, I can look at that, just like you did. You can look at it and say, yeah, I'm more of an eagle. Probably your wife looks at it and would say, yeah, I'm probably more of the dove. Then I would say, okay, look at the ways in which you are using your style to serve you, and look at the ways in which your style is working against you. And the ways in which your style typically works against you is when you overuse your strengths. In other words, if you dial up eagle, they become aggressive. Dial up the parrot, they just become scattered and disorganized. And it's almost too much energy and optimism coming at you. It's not even real. Dial up the dove, it's like you dial up love and it's too much. It's smothering. It's almost like, here, let you take it. Take more food. Here, take mine. Bring it home with you. For the dove, it's like, I'm full. No, you take it. It's love, but it's too much. And they can become very sensitive. Owl, dial up the owl, and they just become so meticulous. They can't finish something. You have to follow their process, and it has to be perfect. So the key is use your personality so that it serves you, but make sure you're not overusing it. So now that it's working against you. And if you're using your personality to drive your success, it's easy. Life is easy. When you are overusing your personality, you just push buttons of the people around you and you create drama.
Great advice. For more information about all these different personality types and how they apply to you, highly recommend you check out Merrick's books, The Chameleon, Life-Changing Wisdom for anyone who has a personality or knows someone who does, and also Taking Flight, Master the Disc Styles to Transform Your Career, Your Relationships, Your Life. Merrick Rosenberg is a keynote speaker and thought leader on personality styles and team development. He co-founded Team Builders in 1991 and Take Flight Learning in 2012. The websites takeflightlearning.com, that's takeflightlearning.com, and merrickrosenberg.com, that's MERRICK Rosenberg.com. Merrick, any final thoughts you want to share with our listeners or anything else you want to promote?
Yeah, I would just tell people, here's my homework assignment for you. Turn on the TV. I don't care whether you're watching news or a sitcom or a drama, and try to figure out the styles of the people you're watching. The more you practice, the better you get. And then think to yourself, all right, how would I communicate to that person? And the more you think about the four styles and how you can apply them, the more you can use them in your life. And I can tell you, it is amazing how they can transform relationships and help you to get better results. So I would challenge you to look for opportunities to use the styles. And as you said, check out The Chameleon and Taking Flight and get them online, Barnes & Noble, Amazon. They're in audio versions as well.
Excellent. Merrick, thanks so much for joining us on our show. To all our listeners, listen to our previous episodes at workfromhomeshow.com. That's workfromhomeshow.com. Leave us a review on whatever podcasting platform you listen to us on. If you have any questions or comments, hello@workfromhomeshow.com. Email us at hello@workfromhomeshow.com. And until next time, keep on working from home.